Hey guys, welcome back to KC3D Sparks. Today we're going to be creating a small chest that we can use as either a treasure chest or storage or something like that. That way it's, just another element in our study. I'd like to eventually make a desk and a really nice armchair that can go with it. So I'm thinking that's probably going to be the next couple of videos. But for today, because I'm behind, we're just going to go ahead and do a nice chest that we can put in this area. So let's go ahead, we're just gonna hop into a new layer. We'll do Shift A, Mesh, and a Cube. Now I'm going to be working in inches, so if you go to your Scenes tab, you can work in whatever you prefer. I'll be working in inches, and the scale of my grid floor is set to 1/4 of an inch. Now this cube is 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches, which is way too large. So what we're gonna do is change the X to 1 inch, and we'll change the Y to 1/2 inch. Whoops. And the Z also to 1/2 inch, so we have a nice rectangle shape to start with. I'm gonna hit period to go ahead and focus in on that. And we'll just go ahead and tab into edit mode. Now I wanna go ahead and do Control R. We're gonna go ahead and add a vertical loop here. So just left click, right click, so it's exactly in the center. A to deselect that, Z for wireframe view, B for border select, and we're gonna grab this edge here, X, and just delete that. Go over to your wrench modifier tab, and we'll just go ahead and add a mirror modifier. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure clipping is applied, and we can go ahead and start adding in some details. So I want to do kind of like it has a metal edging. So if we do Control R, I'm going to scroll up once so we get 2 loops. I'm going to size that along the Z to about there. I'm not going to be too precise with these. We'll do Control R so we can get our corner piece too. And if you want, we could even add a little bit extra so it looks like the corners come out. So if we do another one here, another 2 about there, and then basically just cut them in half so you get that L shape where this little square will be cut out. And it should be the same on the back, but you will have to do the side as well. So we'll do Control R, scroll up, get those 2 loops. So basically all we're doing right now is getting our topology set up properly. So we have our loops there, and we also need about there is probably good. Okay, so now we should be able to just grab our faces. So I'm just going to switch to face select here and start selecting these edges. So we'll go ahead, grab these outer ones. Now I'm not going to grab anything on the bottom because I do want that to remain flat. So we're just going to grab these guys. Oops. All along our edges. Oh, forgot these ones over here. So I would recommend circling around, make sure it looks like you have everything. I'm just gonna do E to extrude and just hit escape so it stays where it needs to be. We'll go ahead and size these out. Now that it's extruded, we'll just go ahead and hit S and size this out. And I'm gonna make it kind of dramatic, so that way when we print it, it will be visible. Maybe not quite that dramatic. Now, if you wanted it to be completely sharp, you could definitely fix these so that way it's not angled. But I kind of like the look of that, so that way it's kind of in and all that stuff. The only problem is I do need to fix the bottom. So I'm just going to grab my vertices here and pull this back up so it is flat. And even once it looks like it's completely flat, I'm going to make sure I have everything selected. Do SZ0 so that way I know for a fact that there's no space in between them vertically. Okay, so now that we have our metal edges out, I would like to add some like wooden lines. So we're going to be adding a lot more loops again. What I want to do is do Control R, and I want to figure out how many I want. I think I want them to be somewhat large, so I'm just going to add one loop here. I'm actually going to scooch this over a little bit. So this will be a plank, and then we'll have another one here, and then it'll be mirrored on the other side. So what I'm going to do is kind of frame out these just like normal. So we'll grab this, pull this in, just like that. And then we just need the one here. So all I have to do is grab these vertices and these vertices. And we're going to do the same on the back. These ones. And these center ones. I'm going to go into the side view, do S and Y and size them in towards each other. And I'm going to make it somewhat dramatic, so this is pretty deep. But now we kind of get our lines. If it's too deep, you could always make it a little bit more shallow if you want. I think I might make it a little less deep. But that looks pretty good. And then we get these notches in our metal piece. So if you don't want that, you could always make sure you add another loop here and then just take these guys back. Kind of like this, which for now I'll just bring mine forward. So that way that fixes that. So if you're interested, or if you like the look of this, you can certainly keep it as is. But I think I do want it to be a little bit flatter, so it looks like it's more just the wood. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix that. So we're gonna pull this down again and fix that on each side. Pull that forward. There we go. And then of course I would like to do one in the center here. So we're going to do Control R. I'm just going to go ahead and scroll up so I get 3 loops, and then just do S and Y and size them in. And then I'll add my extra loop here. Grab my edges, or my vertices. I'm just going to go into front view and pull that in. Just like that. So we have our another kind of like wood indent. And of course, don't forget the top. So I'm going to copy the ones from below. So we already have our loops set up, which is perfect. But we do need to set up this one as well. So all we have to do is do B for border select. Grab this loop. And these vertices, go into side view and pull that down. Oh, and make sure nothing else is selected. Perfect. So we have our basic wooden box. Now, one thing I think would be cool is adding kind of like a latch with a lock. So basically what I want to do for that, we'll go ahead and do Shift A and we'll add a cube. Size that down. I'm going to put this as chest block plate. And again, we'll make it pretty dramatic so that way it's visible for when we go to print it. I'm going to bring it up pretty close to there. And we want to make sure it's as deep as our edge so that way there's nothing that won't be missed when we go ahead and boolean these together. And if you wanted, you could even bring this up so it's flush with the metal up here. We just have to make sure it's tall enough. Just like that, which I think I kind of like that better. So we'll do Shift A, mesh, and I want to go ahead and just do another cube. This one's going to be the lock. Size that way down. Pull it out. I want it to be a little bit smaller than the plate. We'll tab into edit mode. I'm going to go ahead and add a subdivision surface modifier right off the bat. I'm probably only going to do 2 though, because we don't need that much geometry for it. But I do like how the bottom gets nice and round there. I just need to flatten out the top a little bit. So if we bring this up, kind of like that, that makes our basic lock shape for us. Go into side view. Cool. So I want to make a keyhole, and we do want this to be flat. So what we want to do is grab this, but I don't want this edge selected. Oops. So we're going to do Shift E and flatten that up. Perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and do the same to the back. Cool. So for our key shape, go ahead and hide these so we can actually just see this. We're gonna do, we already have this top line here. If we went and tried to just go ahead and edit this, it's gonna mess up our subdivision surface modifier. So what we're gonna do is tab out of edit mode, apply the subdivision, and go into edit mode and just manipulate these vertices instead of adding more geometry, because we have all we need right here. So what I'm gonna do is kind of make these 4 faces kind of into the circle part, and then we can triangulate these down. So size these in first. Size those in. I want these to be flat, so I'm gonna do SC0. And maybe bring them down a little bit. Like that. And then we can just grab these faces, E to extrude, oops, and pull them in for our keyhole. I'm gonna go ahead and unhide these. Make sure our keyhole isn't too deep, which at the moment it's still pretty large. I'm gonna go ahead and just size it down a little bit. And then it is not, but we can just bring it out slightly so we still have a gap in between the hole and our plate. And then I want to do Shift A, mesh, and we're going to add a torus. Rotate it 90 degrees, size that down. Be pretty much just like that, actually. I'm gonna do S and X to make it a little bit more oblong. That works good. We just need to make sure we cut off the bottom because we don't want this poking through the keyhole. So if we tab into edit mode, and we'll grab all these faces to X and delete those vertices, tab back out of edit mode, and that fixes that. I'm gonna go ahead and select everything. We're gonna do Control A, location, rotation and scale. I'm going to have my chest selected. I'm gonna duplicate it just in case I wanna make any changes in the future. Apply my mirror modifier And then we can do our Boolean. Oops. We'll do union and copy that 3 times. Or copy that twice, so we have 3. We'll do the lock plate first. And then the lock. And the torus. Perfect. So that all booleaned properly, just like how we needed it. I'm going to go ahead and move this to our first layer and set it up in our study. So if we grab that and pull it over here, put it over here, I guess. Pull it up on top of the floor. Very cool. So if you guys have any questions about this, feel free to post them in the comments below. I'm really sorry it's not a more in-depth tutorial. I really wanted to try and get the desk or the really cool chair that I have in mind done today, but I'm just running really short on time, so I thought I would just get a small tutorial out for today, and then next week we'll go ahead and get into a more detailed, cooler tutorial. So I'm sorry, I hope you're okay with learning how to just make a basic chest. Other than that, I will see you guys next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe and give me any recommendations for that you would like to see in the future. And I do have Discord linked below, so if you have questions and recommendations, you can always put them in there instead. I'm definitely more active on Discord and responsive there, so feel free to hit me up. Other than that, I will see you guys next week. Bye!